This is for Thursday, the 22nd of March. Composite's got a couple upper boundary lines it's messing with right now. This top line here, it wicked off of that 3 days ago. Yeah, 2-3 days ago. Couldn't get back up to that line today, although it did make new highs before collapsing at the very end of the day to create a red candle for the day, interestingly enough. So it went from a very nice solid up green candle for the day to new highs to a slight red candle doji for the day that ended up basically on this shallower uptrend line from this elbow here through this wick at 3,000 where the market collapsed on down and then came back up. So both of these lines are operative. We're in between these right now. It could fall below this, keep coming down. On the 20-day, the market broke at the end of the day this 2-day uptrend, recovering through this gap. And it also, if you consider this particularly significant, which this movement back up, it's pretty good significant elbow, 30-50 back on up. It broke that uptrend too into the end of the day. So from all the way back here, it broke that trend line. And so we may be in a period of channeling here between 30.60 or 30.50 and these highs near 30.90. That may be what we're entering. Put that back down. Go to Broadcom. Broadcom did open below this uptrend line. We talked about it having closed on that and spent time below it yesterday. Considered the possibility of it opening below that, being weak below this line, coming down and actually, instead of forming a tail, staying weak and having a close lower. Well, it did come on down, but formed another tail off a 2-day bottom and went on back up to new highs and touched the bottom of that trend line right there. So this is very steep and accelerated, but it's still being honored, as is this level right above 38. So here was that action on Broadcom. You can see that through this 5-day chart. Came down, touched the bottoms right there from yesterday. Radical movement back on up, recovered that completely. 38.50, touched on that multiple times, finally cradled above that, went up to its high for the day, gave it back. So that was a touch right there on that uptrend line. Moving through, which went through this close, get rid of that, get the right thing. That went through this close, if you remember, and up through there, so that's your line you're working with on the longer term. And you can see that here on your, should be able to see that here on your longer term like this. Not quite, not exact. Let's see what we got here. There we go. Touched it right there. In the middle of the day, which would have shown the middle of the candle, that's what's going on. You see that line intercepts right here in the middle of this day at that break point. So in the middle of that candle, that's what that looks like on the daily. So that's what's going on right there. You're actually diagramming that in the middle of that day. So that works out. So that's really what's going on. And yeah, it touched it, came back down. That's close enough. So we're below that right now, and probably going to be here bouncing between 38 and these highs for a bit, unless we just decide to move on up. Touch this again, 39, go higher. You can see a breakthrough 39 could still touch and fail on the bottom side of this uptrend line. But once again, coming from here off these cradles, this is a nice solid 2-day double bottom above 38 in a new living region. So we definitely could challenge the tops on this tomorrow if the market is going to be strong again, and hit 39, 40 points away from that right now. And it could go above 39. As you can see, this line is above that. SanDisk was wedging, trying to figure out what it wanted to do about 50. We talked about that, said that it looked like there might be a little bit of bias downside, but it wasn't necessarily super significant with these trend lines here. This slope degradation from these, and then a little bit more here, both of these indicating downward, this one to this one transitioning to this one, but that didn't have to necessarily mean anything, because the real decision was, what was it going to do about 50? Well, it gapped up to 50, gapped above 50 today, right above the end of yesterday's action, right above the high of yesterday's action, as we can see here. Came back down to 50. V, failure to fail, 100% recovery on that movement. Bounced basically off of 50 down here and worked its way up. Kind of messy, but there are several places you could have decided that this decision was made on the longer term chart, that's a significant decision, perfect position for a cradle, and that this could be a good candle upside, and found, would have been a little tough, but found an entry upside that you could have kept and liked because it just kept going. The daily pattern was primed for that, and the decision was made very early. SanDisk now could, things have been hesitating a bit. This is a nice give back at the end of the day. Things have been hesitating before continuing their motion. This give back might be enough, however, for SanDisk to go ahead and try to go back above and hit 52 again. Depends on how strongly it wants to get back above that. This was a nice day up, resolving above 50. So you could get another nice day up. Then again, with a nice decision like that, here's another decision on that day. Maintained 50, went up nicely for this next day. Had some good range the following day, but didn't stack on another giant candle. I kind of think tomorrow will be like this for SanDisk, more than likely, and not a substantial candle, but some decent range perhaps. X still staying strong here above 30.35. Now has a downtrend line here that might need to be paid attention to tomorrow. Definitely should be paid attention to tomorrow for 32. And this might be generating a flag pattern in here where after this nice reversal movement up, it begins to weaken and has a curve back down to 30 or lower. But not necessarily. This is a strong, very steep slope recovery here on X. Actually, once it got going and decided to stay above the downtrend line here, the slope on this is actually quite steep. It's steeper than, it's as steep as these movements back here, let's say. But you see how those rolled over after that recovery. You might be getting something like this now. The steep movement, there's a doji the next day, in a couple days. Took a while to start falling. Maybe X is ready for that too. Then again, if it starts to break above 32 and staying there, depending on the gap open, if it's above this downtrend line here, starts opening above that, catches wind off of that, passes its open or whatever, moves above 32. I suppose that could be a large candle upward. That would be kind of out of its pattern at the moment. I don't know, a little strange. Either channeling or downside is probably the most likely outcome for X right now. And you can see here on this 5-day, our channel bounds here at the moment. Spending its time in these regions. Tried to go back above this toward the day, couldn't. If it starts living back above there tomorrow morning and catches wind off of these MAs and the uptrends it's been establishing like that through the close there, let's say, maybe it wants to live up here for tomorrow and challenge 32 and these highs. So that'd be a nice movement. That's 60 points above this 3140 level. That could be a nice movement. Depends on where it wants to live, whether it's in this channeling region here or if it wants to come back up, try for this region. Let's go to Netflix. Netflix talked about how its pattern had been big day, small day, big day, small day, and that today could have been another big day. It's exactly what it was, and so that pattern is maintained tomorrow. We might continue that as a big day up, though, and might break that pattern because we still have this uptrend line here that's maintained. We're right on it for the day, and this is essentially a horizontal upper bound. So we're wedging upward. Start breaking out above that, we could go for another several dollars and maybe for a big movement. But we're getting back into the region where it did have some small candles while it was living up here above 120. If it does go above 120, this is a really nice cradle recovery. That could be a big day, though. That could be $4, $5, $6, even $10 maybe. It hasn't given a $10 candle for quite a while, but if it really caught wind, it could. I tend to say that 124, 125 through some of these levels right through there would be your top region for tomorrow. But then again, that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. It depends on the market, of course, as well. Whether the market's going to decide to fall or not, that would influence Netflix. But this has a nice uptrend. It could go. Other things to look at. Best Buy is continuing to move upward very nicely. This is quite an accelerated trend line, and we now have gap closure. So I'd say that could qualify as gap closure tomorrow. Perhaps a double top. Perhaps it goes up to there again. But definitely pay attention to this uptrend line here. Moving back below this line and below 27. Even if this is going to stay strong, if it goes below 27, you could have a nice tail down to this trend line. That's some decent movement, 25 cents maybe, and then moves back up. But if it opens tomorrow below this line, what would that have to be? I guess that would have to be below 26.5. 26.5 or 26.75 or below would be an open on this line and down. You might get some movement on down there. Scale here is not huge, but it's pretty good for a $27 stock. Not bad, not bad. But that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big green days in a row. Big day, small day, big day, small day, big day. Tomorrow will probably be another small day or a break candle. Have to see. Here actually is the gap closure all the way up here, 28. I suppose it could try to get up to 28, but visually here you see off this level, that very well could be considered a gap closure tomorrow as well. But might get some good movement. Texas Instruments, after hanging out for 2 days after this nice movement back upward, is, I would think, primed for an actual decision candle. Either break lower below 33.50 and come on down to 33, big 50-cent movement downward or more, or to decide to actually start moving up, challenge 34, which would be 40 cents to the upside, given the close, and even these movements up here farther, 50 cents. So I think tomorrow will be a 50-cent candle range for Texas Instruments. That's basically what today was as well. This range here, 50 cents there, about 40 cents yesterday. They'll have 50 cents of movement tomorrow and probably a resolution. That could actually go further than that. 33 is not far away to come back down here below 50 and settle out for a bit while it tries to figure out what it wants to do with this line right through here. That could easily happen tomorrow. Come on back down here if this is not ready to go higher yet. But if it is, starts breaking above this downtrend line, that could really go. You could have a tail down 33.50 or just below it, cradling upward, move past this downtrend line again, as you can see through here, and then start, come down past that line, start going back above that line and go nicely to 34 or even higher, up to 34.20. So, test these highs. So Texas Instruments could be good tomorrow as well. What else is interesting? XOM seems to have suffered somewhat of a break candle, so maybe you get some more downside from that tomorrow, full dollar or so, 86 down to 85, maybe a big one down to 84. That's pretty disappointing today with that break candle. 86 would be the key level for tomorrow with XOM. And what else? Apple had a big give back, trying to go make higher inroads above 600. So, I don't know. Still good movement on Apple throughout the days. Not sure what to think about that. Probably just going to keep going higher above 600. Might want to just get it and hold it, but don't know. Google had a real nice movement upward today. Gave a lot of it back though. This rejection of this attempt to fail here was quite significant. Bounced back off 600. Just quite obvious here, really, and then just got going. And today was a real movement up. I think I talked several days ago back in here if it broke 620 and stayed above 620, it would see 640 or 650 not long after, and that's exactly turned out to be the case. The 620 was a real important level for it, and that's exactly what it did. It's got a nice big wick now and potential to break this uptrend line, but I don't know if tomorrow is necessarily going to be the day for Google. to do something else fantastic. But I think that's it. Amazon might be the last one to maybe consider. Small deck candle today, possible double top, could be coming back down. Then again, it could continue its upward movement and have a nice movement, try to reach up to 200, or some of these tops here, or these over here. So could be moving past 195 to get into any of these regions to stack a nice candle on after this hitch candle. Maybe this is not an actual downside beginning. Maybe that's going to go on up and that'll just be a hitch candle. But this is a double wick top, pretty significant. So you could very well have a pullback, a retracement of some sizable movement tomorrow. I do think Amazon will move a lot tomorrow. So we might be one to watch and pay attention to how it moves relative to its open. And I think that's it. That's enough to talk about. Except for LNKD, it popped, went up above 100, came back down. I don't know. Could very well give that up tomorrow, come back down, try to close the gap before going higher. That was a serious give back. Then again, it could try to challenge those again tomorrow. I don't know. But an interesting pop finally did move its way on up. Did it with a gap, off of this rejection of the fail back below 90 on this one day. Hit 88, came back, moved on back above. Boom, there you go. So LNKD could be interesting too. So that's it. Good luck trading tomorrow.